This is a presentation of Northeast Streaming Sports.
Good evening, everybody, and welcome to another edition of Prim and Proper Sports. I am your host, Sonia. I hope everybody is doing well on this Wednesday, October 29th, 2025. Can you guys believe we are literally on week 9 now of the NFL? This season is officially halfway over. And we want to give a shout out right now to PINKfanFur, who does all of my reels, the realist behind everything. And of course, Brian B. Strilla Orange, who does all the production and theme songs and what have you. Now, tonight I have a very special guest. It did not dawn on me until I was inviting him, y'all, that I have not seen him on my platform since last year, and that is unacceptable. So for the second time to most of you guys, but the first time to a lot of you all who are viewing, allow me to reintroduce to some and introduce to others my special guest for this evening, none other than Mad Cata. Cata, good evening. How are you today?
Hey, thank you. Thank you so much for having me on. I'm doing well. I'm doing good. Despite the loss yesterday, I'm recuperating.
Yeah. Fighting the loss. That's been big. But Cata, tell us what you've been up to since last December, what you got coming up, what you've been doing outside of the gridiron. We know you are very passionate about the Carolina Panthers, but you're just as passionate about the community. So give us a little preview of what you got coming up and what you've been doing this year.
Okay, so from the last time I've spoken to you on this show, I've done a couple of things. And what we have coming up here Thursday is the 5th annual Cancer and Domestic Violence event. It's going to be in my hometown of Winston-Salem, North Carolina. And I have a flyer here.
Okay, that's actually awesome. Let me put you on the spotlight, Cata. Let me let people see you. Hang on, where'd you go? Let me switch you here. Uh-oh. I think I got you. I'm trying to make you be the bigger person.
That's all right.
All right, I got it. Okay, let us know a little bit about that.
Okay, so every year, my mom, she dealt with breast cancer, and thank God she's still here with us. And she's been 11 years now cured from breast cancer. And the idea was how can you coordinate an event to give honor, encourage, and support people that was going through the same thing as my mom was back then. Mm-hmm. You know, that was a scare for my family, and we was all nervous, even though we were prayer warriors at the same time. A little bit of the not knowing what's going on crept in. Mm-hmm. So I wanted to get an event to where we could all come together and support each other through it all. So when I say cancer, I mean pretty much all the cancers, but I'm pretty much spotlighting breast cancer because it is Breast Cancer Awareness Month. But all cancer survivors are welcome to this event coming up at the Downtown Library here in Winston-Salem, North Carolina, this Thursday coming at 12:30. So I'm excited about that. And just not that, it's the fact that now we have domestic violence attached to it is even a better, bigger event now. So I'm looking forward to good things again this year, and try to keep it going. Yeah.
Absolutely. And you're such a blessing to the community, Kata. I've been following you for a number of years before I was blessed with the opportunity of meeting you through Pink Fan Fur. And you are always so in touch with the community, with the players themselves, with the Panthers as a whole. And you're just such a blessing as an individual. And I just want to personally thank you, having known and in my immediate family, sufferers of both cancer and domestic violence. I just want to thank you for being so advantageous towards the love of others in the Carolinas. That is such a blessing. And
it's a beautiful, it's really beautiful because people have, a lady came to me some years back and she said, I was a victim of domestic violence while I was going through radiation treatments and chemotherapy. You know, so it's definitely a time of reflection, a time of rejoicing, and just celebrating the victories that we have over these diseases. So, and I'm thankful that I can attach my persona to more than just the game. As you can see, the game can go either way. So I feel like when I attack the community, it's a win every time. I tell you, I mean, I really enjoy it, and I thank God for putting this on me to be able to do.
Yeah, that's really a blessing. And like, I love the way you said it's a win every time, no matter what. So we'll make sure we get your contact info there in the comments so that when people are watching and seeing this, they can reach out, because it's never too late. And you have a lot of stuff going on year round, not just this. Kata is one of these people that are so in tune with the community year round. He has a cleats giveaway that he handcrafts these cleats and all these customized ideas for kids and everybody there. Yeah, tell us about those, Kata.
Okay, so this year, that was a great segue, by the way.
Thank you. I try.
These are actually from the stadium of BOA, Bank of America Stadium.
Yes.
And these cleats were donated this year. So let me show you. Now look, this is a size 15 cleat. I don't know which player tried these on and didn't like them, but it's kind of like, I guess you could say Foot Locker. You know, you go to Foot Locker and you try a shoe on, you walk around on to see if it'll fit good for you. Well, the same thing happens to the players. They try a cleat on and they don't feel right on them, then they chuck them. They just throw them away.
Oh, wow.
So this is my cause, my cleat. Stay tuned, and I have something for you. So those are cleats that I'm going to work on this year. Most times what I do is open my heart and just embrace the moments. Like last year, I did the my cause, my cleats for Western Carolina during the hurricanes. Yeah, and that turned out to be really well. Yeah, that turned out good. It turned out really well. This year,
I really love to watch your.
Go ahead.
I was saying I really love watching your TikToks and stuff because you show how you're making them, and it's like you guys have got to follow Kata at Mad Kata on all the socials. He literally shows you how he literally puts his heart and his soul into every item. It's customized. No two are alike. Kata, that just shows your true talent that you're sharing with everyone.
Thank you. Thank you. Yes, indeed. So I'm very thankful that somebody that worked for the Panthers seen my cleats last year and wanted to help out in any way possible. And I was donated these cleats that I would definitely put a theme onto them and go ahead and get my cause out this year again.
I love it. I love it. All right. Well, kudos to you, Kata. Of course, we're always watching from afar because you always have so many amazing things going on. You're so talented. Just big applause to you for that. And thank you so much for identifying. I'm glad your mom is doing much better. I'll continue to keep her in prayers. That's such an amazing thing to know, that prayer overcomes even the worst of situations. And that is just a testament there. So thank you for sharing that with us as well, Kata.
You're welcome.
Speaking of prayers, I'm going to do another little segue. Prayers did not help the Carolina Panthers on yesterday. I'm going to be honest, I don't normally pray too much about sports. However, I was hopeful. I did have a little faith. But Kata, you were at that game 40-9. Now, of course, Bryce Young is healing up from this high ankle sprain, did not dress out, was on the sidelines. We know we have not seen Andy Dalton in quite a while. But that did not mean that Andy should not have been conditioned for this game. He gave away 2 crucial turnovers that the Bills capitalized early on, and it was a domino effect from there. The Bills had a 2-game losing streak and decided to use the Panthers as their ladder to come away from that 2-game losing streak on the road. Not only that, Josh Allen had the audacity to surpass Cam Newton's record at BOA as having the most rushing touchdowns for a quarterback. And it just goes on and on and on. Bills are now 5-2. Panthers are still at 500. Don't get too hopeful. NFC South at 4-4. Let's talk about some things you noticed at that game before we get into the individualized stats here, Kata.
Well, first off, it was way too much red, white, and blue at that stadium yesterday. I'm talking about like when I touched down from Winston, the first colors I seen was Buffalo colors.
Oh, wow.
And I'm like, come on. I don't know what's going on here. I know they travel well, and that's okay. But they cannot take our home and make it theirs. And that's kind of the energy that I felt yesterday. I was very hopeful now for Andy. I was thinking Andy was going to go out there and really show that he's a great, reliable backup to Bryce Young. But you know what? It was not a good day. It was not a good day for anybody involved. J.C. Horn said everything went wrong, and that's the truth. It was just terrible. Yeah.
I'm just so baffled that you're saying I didn't know that Bills Mafia travels to non-AFC games. I mean, let's be clear. The Panthers are pretty much not even on their radar most of the time. We don't even bother the Bills. They don't bother us. But they got themselves up on those planes and came all the way from Niagara Falls down to the Carolinas to witness in person. And I did hear an announcement because I was watching the game here yesterday. And I heard him say that he was literally on a flight with a bunch of Buffalo fans. And I'm like, what? Like they basically had the whole flight taken over like it was their chartered flight. I'm like, wait a minute.
Yeah. It was crazy, but I was still hopeful, even though the stadium was pretty much Bills fans, which I'm not pleased with at all. You know, I would have loved to have seen more black and blue in that stadium, but it didn't take long for them to really, yell out Buffalo and whatever they say, the chance they have and all that once things started unraveling for us, and that scramble that Dalton was doing and he fumbled the ball, I knew right then it was about to blow because the stadium was already covered with Buffalo fans, so yeah, it was not a good time.
Yeah, home, I heard that. I heard it, and I was like, why does it sound like Panthers fans are cheering for the Bills? I didn't know because the way the TV cameras were angled, they didn't show, I saw a few specks of red, but it didn't look as apparent unless I just wasn't looking. Like I had it on, and part of it I was doing some studying and everything, so I wasn't looking at every individual play. I kind of had it on, and I was watching most of them, but I didn't see the pans of that. And that's just horrible. And then, to think about just the other night, shout out to PINKfanFur again. She had this gentleman on there from Buffalo who was talking about, we talked about the defenses and who could stop who and who was this, that, and the third. And I will admit, if he's watching the show, I was mistaken because there was no stopping James Cook, who rushed for 19 carries, 216 yards, a career high. It looked like he wasn't even covered a couple of times, Kata. There were 2 touchdowns, including that big 64-yard run, that it looked as if our defenders just gave up.
Yeah, that was definitely like a morale buster when he broke that long run, because I think we were number 7th in defense, I believe, last week. Number 7th in total defense. So my mind is telling me we could stop the run and get them to pass and make them one-dimensional. We have a chance, but we could never stop the run. So their playbook was open to whatever they wanted to do.
It was really bad because his record alone, the 216 yards, Kata, set a new record for the most ever allowed yards by the Panthers for a single player and a single opponent.
Yeah.
Yeah. Then you get over to Josh Allen, who was 12 of 19, 163 yards. But let's be clear, Josh didn't have to do much because he was literally all of his targets, He had his 2 rushing touchdowns, and then he set the NFL record for the most games, now 46. Cam Newton had 45, with at least 1 passing and 1 rushing touchdown, surpassing, of all people, Cam Newton, and that game was at Bank of America, Kata.
What a coincidence. And I hate that. It could have been somewhere else but Bank of America Stadium.
Right?
Because the fans' energy was there. The Panther fans that did show up and was there at the tailgates and inside the stadium, we was really hopeful that, hey, look, we can win this game. We undefeated at home. Let's keep this trend going. And, it didn't take long before we began to realize chances are we may not make it out of here, with this win. So,
yeah, that was pretty rough. Then, of course, we're just going through the stats here, Kat. I hate to make you relive such a traumatic moment that you saw in person. The good thing about being at home, you just
go ahead.
Yeah, you just turn the channel, but when you're there in person, it's like even if you wanted to get up and leave, you're still going to hear it for a while you're walking out the stadium, everything, because it's right there. And Khalil Shakir.
And I would never do that.
Yeah. Yes.
I would never leave the game early. Never. I'm staying. I don't care what. I'm staying to support my team, no matter what.
That's me. And I applaud you. That's me. I'm like, no matter how bad it is, like, no, I'm here. I'm going to be here. And let's do a small plug. You never know, because look how Denver came back against the New York Giants in week 7 when they came back against them with less than 2 minutes left. That was insane. They were down 19-0 at the end of the third quarter, and with less than 5 minutes left, they started scoring. And with less than 2 minutes left, they took the lead. And so it's never too late.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
So Khalil Shakir was another one of those players. He had 88 yards, but there were 6 catches, which lets you know Josh was really like spreading the ball around. He had another big catch, 54 yards for a touchdown. And the Bills defense, Kata, which had not been that notoriously known, forced 3 turnovers. One was the fumble we talked about from Andy Dalton when he got ready to try to do the scramble. And then another turnover, and then another turnover. 1 interception was forced by Andy Dalton and 2 fumbles. They recorded a total of 7 sacks on Andy Dalton for the day.
Wow. Yeah. Now, I know we had injuries along the offensive line, but these guys all practice together. Next man up mentality. And I'll tell you, 7 sacks, that's a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah. He might not play. We need Bryce back.
Yeah, I need Bryce to be getting cortisone injections and icing up, as Steve Smith once said, and several said. Whatever. Like, I don't know if I need to come down there and put some pads on and pretend I'm Bryce or what,
Mr. Miyagi.
Yes.
Yeah.
The Panthers, even though the score looked really bad, we did have a little performance that was contributing towards the 9 points we ended up getting. Of course, Andy Dalton being the starter for the injured Bryce Young that we've talked about. He had 16 of 24 passes for 175 yards. So his yards were comparable when measured against Josh Allen. It was just the receptions were off. 1 interception, 2 fumbles. T-Mac, the wide receiver who has always been Bryce Young's big target, received 7 catches for 99 yards. And then we saw Christian Roseboom, the linebacker, who had 12 total tackles for the defense. And that was all she wrote. There's nothing else stat-wise that the Panthers produced, Kata.
Wow. I'm not really big into stats, but when you now listen to what you're saying, I mean, that's not good. We way better than that, and we've shown better than that. So I'm looking for definitely a turnaround come Sunday. We shall see. But yeah, that's terrible.
Yeah.
And Rosebloom, he's really turned for the better, Rosebloom, because in the beginning he was kind of sluggish.
Yeah, he really has, and that's one of the reasons why I look at the stats, because they say any given Sunday, and we were undefeated at home. And you look at the total thing, they always talk about AI and how they come up with schedules and everything. Well, AI plugs in the numbers. They plug in the stats. So that's how they come up with, okay, this is the number 1 defense. This is the number 1 offense. This is the player to look out for. This is the projected fantasy points that this player may have, because they're looking at the stats on a weekly basis. And now that we are facing week 9, we're halfway through the season. The stats are going to be a little bit different than they were week 1, because we have more comparable numbers to look at across the board from each of our players in all 32 teams. This one did hurt. I'm going to be honest. I am extremely disappointed, even though I felt like, my confidence will not ever let me root against the Panthers or say that they will lose. I will never say it until I see the final score. I just won't do that. I don't care if we've dropped 17 in a row and it's week 18 and we're playing the Super Bowl champs. I'm going to say, yep, we're going to win every week. Every week. But when you look at, okay, now here is where we are now. We have to make changes. We have to be better, because as Panthers fans, Kata, you know how it is. Like, we want to make sure we keep the mantra, keep pounding. That means we never give up. And a part of me was, realistic. Like, okay, it is the Bills. It's a probability that they may win, but I did not see 40-9. That there, even if I were to accept the possibility of us losing, I would have thought at the most maybe 7 to 8 points, not even 2 full scores.
Yeah, I mean, I was thinking along the same lines too. It's like, we at home, we have our home crowd. We're gonna be into this game. They're gonna pull this thing through for us. And I stayed for the whole game. I didn't lose hope at all. But at the same time, you can kind of tell the morale was getting weaker and weaker, especially when you started getting these injuries to the offensive line. I mean, it was terrible. It was terrible.
Yeah, it was really terrible. And to kind of wrap that segment, because we need to look at this as a bigger picture. Total net yards. This is where the biggest difference was. So the first downs, the Bills had 22 first downs. The Panthers had 17. Okay, not too much of a difference. The Bills had 7 sacks. The Panthers only had 2, Kata. Only had 2. That's a big difference for our defense. No turnovers by the Bills, yet there were 3, and the Bills capitalized on every one of them by the Panthers. But then listen at this biggest. The biggest thing, Kata, was not even all of that. It was the yards. The Bills had 411 net yards. The Panthers only had 246 for the game.
Oh, see, now turnovers will hurt you. I mean, you say we had 3? We had 3 turnovers.
3 turnovers, and
a lot of those net yards came from off of some of those turnovers.
Yep.
So there's the answer right there. You can't turn the ball over, especially in your own end zone. Mm-hmm. You can't. You just can't do it. So
especially that big run at 64-yard line, 64-yard turnover, that was contributed to this as well.
Oh yeah, absolutely. But
you were saying you hope what, Kata?
We just got to chalk it up and regroup and get ready for Green Bay. The 24-hour rule has expired for me.
Yes, it's officially 24 hours because past all that time, and we are on to, of course, tomorrow night being our Thursday night game. We'll talk about that here in just a minute. But let's look at what this looks like in the terms of our division, Kata. Now, our division has been a little competitive this year. I mean, I'm excited that the Panthers are competitive for the first time in 6 seasons. Well, let's be clear. We're competitive every season, but this season we really are showing that we're competitive. 4-4, even after this loss. So we're still at 500. We are right behind the Bucks, thanks to Atlanta losing yesterday to Tua Tagovailoa and the Miami Dolphins on Sunday. And so I'm excited about that because the Falcons are dropping to 3-4. The Bucks are 6-2, and the Panthers are right behind them at 4-4. And the Saints are a non-factor right now at 1-7. So if you think about it, the Falcons have already had their bye week, so they're game on for the rest of the season. And the week 8 results, they were beat 34-10 by the Miami Dolphins. The Bucks and Saints were each other's opponents, and the Saints they just were not there. In fact, they benched Spencer Rattler and brought in Tyler Shope, and it was just not good at all. 23-3, like a lot of big scoring games. So I don't feel as bad because everybody got points put up on them yesterday. But when you look at the stats from each of those, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers leading the division have over 2,584 yards total offense for this season so far. They've only allowed 2,571 per opponent for the year, and their turnover differential is a +7. Now, the Panthers are not too far behind. Let's not get it twisted, even though the record says we're a couple of games behind. It does not matter because our total offense is 25-31, so only 50 yards difference. We are right there. And we have 2,480 yards allowed, which is right behind Tampa Bay Cattle with a turnover differential of, after yesterday's game, is -5. So when you look at Atlanta, when you look at Atlanta, got these other 2 teams. Atlanta's offense is 23.99. They're right behind us. Their defense is 19.29 yards allowed. They were ranked as one of the higher defensive teams. As a matter of fact, going into Sunday's game, they were ranked, I think, number 2 defense, number 1 offense. And their turnover differential was +2. And the Saints have 2360 yards for the season, 2562 in yards allowed, and their turnover differential is -2. So when you put it in perspective like that, as far as the competition, Kata, what are your thoughts? Because, I know there's a lot of numbers coming in there, but it's still a close race.
It is, by the math and all the stats and everything. That's great. What we have to do is continue to play our game and be mistake-free, because being 2 games back from the Buccaneers, that's not bad.
Right.
We can't really worry about who they are playing and who they might lose to. We just got to handle our end of the business to make sure we can be somewhat in the hunt, if not in the hunt. Because we still have to play them. We play them, I think, twice in 3 weeks. We have to play them twice.
They like to do that back-to-back.
Yeah, so it might just come down to those games being crucial. So we got to take care of our business and just handle it for what it is, get everybody back healthy, and just reset ourselves from Sunday's game and reboot. That's what we have to do, because it's showing from what you just read that we're not far behind. We're not out yet. We're not out of this yet.
Yeah, and of course, we have our next opponent is none other than Green Bay, who took care of the Steelers and ensured that Aaron Rodgers did not join the other 4 quarterback greats as being one of the 5th. He would have been the 5th quarterback to beat all 32 teams now that he is a Steeler and was playing his former team, the Green Bay Packers. But it was all love with them. So we're getting ready to play Green Bay in Green Bay. And I actually was checking the weather because I saw they were all bundled up. They were only 5 degrees colder than Atlanta. So I was like, listen, it's cold here. It's got to be really cold there. But it wasn't. But they had on toboggans and everything. But see, Green Bay is now 5-1-1. They have a tie. Panthers are going into this game 4-4. Game is at 1 o'clock, so it's going to be a little earlier in the day. and it's going to be aired on Fox. But right now, our 3-game winning streak was snapped decisively at home by the Bills. Actually, we had a 3-game win streak in a row, honestly, not just being undefeated at home. And we need to see how long Bryce is going to be out, if he's coming back. Sunday, the Packers are considered one of the top teams in the NFC, and they're returning to Lambeau Field, where they are still undefeated at Lambeau. So what are your thoughts, Kata?
I think we have a chance. Like you said earlier, I would never go against my team. They will have to show me otherwise, but I'm not going to go into any game thinking we're going to get beat.
Yeah, people are always voting against us. That's the thing. No one wants to say that, they will get beat or anything like that.
And, I'm just looking forward to seeing what we can do as the Panthers regroup, reset from Sunday's game, and get ready to put on a performance in Green Bay. We definitely need to get back on track, and I do feel like we can do it this Sunday.
Yeah, I'm wondering about that too, Kata. It's like you said, I never am going to root against them, but they put on a clinic with Aaron Rodgers. I mean, the game looked like it was a comparable game, and then you literally saw youth versus vets. Like it came down to the younger version. And I do remember before that game started that Jordan Love said that, he wanted to switch jerseys and everything, the jersey swap with Aaron Rodgers. And it was noted to me that Aaron wouldn't even do it on camera. I mean, he had a good attitude when he came in. And I have heard some other players talk about how certain players won't swap their jerseys. And I think Aaron Rodgers was one of those persons because of who he is. But, Jordan Love was his, protege for such a long time. Mentor versus mentee was what the game looked like. And so the commentators were like, it's probably going to, be switched off the camera or whatever. But I was like, he could have gave him his jersey or what have you. But the Packers, of course, are heavy home favorites. Vegas and all these other people put their bets in. But I love how they always bet against the Panthers. They talk so much trash about our defense, even when it wasn't football season, that our defense had to show them, who we were. And they are predicting them to defeat us over a 12.5 point spread, which is the largest point spread of the Week 9 slate of games that have to come up, which means they expect them to beat us by more than 2 points, scores.
That's a lot. So we I don't know how the players, do they even like read this stuff? I know they're on social media, but do they really like go into details like we do as fans and pull up stats to see what everybody's saying? Yeah, me too. But
it could be overwhelming.
Yeah,
it could be really brutal. I mean, and I think about that too sometimes, Kata. You and I think a lot alike on that, because sometimes I'm like, man, I hope they don't see how much, the fair weather fans are already bowing out. Right. Some of them don't even wait for the final score. They literally are only with us when we're winning. That's not really a fan, honestly. True. If you're only there just for the wins, are you really a fan? No, you're not a fan. You're just an admirer. There's a difference. And so, we got Dowdle, and Dowdle really was almost radio silent in Sunday's game. We needed him to pick up where he left off. We need T-Mac. It just was a different vibe with Bryce not being there. Wouldn't you agree?
I agree completely. And it shows me how, like you were saying about being fair weather, some fans, they don't like Bryce, don't want Bryce. He's too short. He can't get the job done. But it's crazy how yesterday it was a lot, man, we miss Bryce. We need Bryce back. He better be playing, but so I'm like, okay, which one do you want? Do you want like Bryce or not? I like Bryce, and I will continue to like that guy. I mean, he's our quarterback, and I think, hopefully he will play Sunday. barring any setbacks, we don't know the conditions of his ankle. I want the best for him, like Coach was saying. But if he can play Sunday, that'd be great. That'd be wonderful. So we'll see. It'll be definitely a morale booster. I'm hoping Cade Mays can play. I think he hurt his ankle yesterday too as well. And Norton, he got hurt too. So I'm hoping that these are minor injuries. Christensen, I think he's done for the season with his Achilles and all. So, I mean, I hate that. But I think that we can manage to get in there and get some points on the board earlier, get some timing set. Hopefully Bryce is playing and, go about our business.
Yeah, the latest for Bryce was as of this afternoon. He's still considered day-to-day with a high ankle sprain that we talked about. Of course, this is an injury that kept him out of this past week's game that we just talked about this whole segment. However, according to Dave Canales, he said that today that he has practiced on Monday and he's had a couple of good days of running as well. And the team's goal is to actually have him to practice in some more capacities before they decide, which will wrap up towards the end of the week. And his availability is going to depend entirely on how his ankle responds to practice as a totality for the entire week, like how he feels as far as soreness or swelling or what have you, come Friday. So it's going to be looks like almost a game time decision, almost up to that point. And you mentioned some other injuries. Brady Christensen, of course, an Achilles. He's significant Achilles injury during this past game, and that's going to be a long-term absence for him. Taylor Moton has a knee injury from Sunday's game as well. More tests are being done throughout this week to determine what's going to happen with him. And then Cade Mays also has an ankle injury. The center also left Sunday's game with an injury. I mean, the Bills were beating us on the scoreboard and on the field. It's just sad. He's having further evaluation. And then if you look at our guard, Chandler Zavala, he already had knee injuries. He's on IR, but he's expected to begin practicing sometime this week. So it's going to open a 21-day window for us to activate him. That's good news there. Robert Hunt has been out with bicep injury. He's going to continue on IR. And Austin Corbett also stays on our IR list from a knee injury. Our practices this week, the official roster or update should be on tomorrow, which will provide a clearer picture of all these people that we've mentioned, but especially Young, Moton, and Mays for the upcoming game against the Packers. So those are good games. Good news to hear that they are actually coming around, and hopefully we'll be ready. Of course, player safety and health is first. Of course, us as fans want them to be the best version of themselves. But Bryce was definitely missed, and so were all those other players. Like, it was totality of players being injured during the game and missing that I think contributed to the performance that we saw.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so I think that 12.5 points is absolutely insane. I do have faith on us bouncing back and just want those guys to be a healthy version of themselves and ready to travel. Of course, tomorrow night, Thursday night football, Baltimore Ravens versus the Miami Dolphins. Kata, I know that game is at 8:15. Those are two AFC matchups. Dolphins coming off of a win against the Atlanta Falcons, an unexpected win, go figure. And they were on the road in Atlanta. Of course, they are at home tomorrow. Baltimore surprised me beating the Chicago Bears, even without Lamar Jackson, who is day-to-day and expected to come back anytime. Is that a game that we should even, be like, does that have, because this is halfway point. That's the AFC contentions at this point. Lamar Jackson being the big news story there, that's whether or not he plays and what the Ravens look like, because when the season started, everybody always has them and the Bills in the same talk.
That's right. Absolutely. Yep.
Yeah, so that's tomorrow night at 8:15 p.m. And that's going to be, if all you Prime users out there that have that, that shows live every night, actually at 8:15. And I think they have like an option you can rewind it and everything. All signs are pointing towards him returning as early as Lamar Jackson is who I'm speaking of, as early as for the game. But he's been recovering since week 4. So that's a significant amount of time that he has been missing. And Baltimore was 1-5 going into the game on Sunday, which was a shock for them. Of course, he was ruled out for that game despite practicing during the week. And the Ravens are actually being investigated by the NFL because of that, because they had him listed as playing in Sunday's game, and then at the last minute they said he was not, even though he had practiced throughout the week. So they're looking at Coach Harbaugh and the Ravens organization for that, but they are saying the last statement is that he will play on tomorrow night now that he's had some additional time to rest. But yeah, kind of always great to have you on, of course, to make this mostly about the Carolina Panthers, our champs, our number ones, no matter what. And tell us how to follow you on all the socials, Kata, before you hop off of here.
You can follow me on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, and even on Snapchat. But it's Mad Catter. Just type in MADCATTAH, and it should lead you right to me. Or you can just do a Google search, and it'll do the same for you. So, yeah, thank you for having me on. I appreciate everybody and the support for what I'm doing and ideas for the community, and also spraying the cheer on game day. So I thank every one of you. Thank you.
Absolutely. Always a great time to sit down with you, Kata. Thank you so much for coming on Prim and Proper Sports and making time with me and for me today. And, of course, go Panthers as always. And we thank everyone for joining us tonight. And we guess good luck to your team unless you're the Packers. Right, Kata?
Right. Yeah.
All right, everybody. Thanks always.
You can do what you want to do.
Absolutely. And with that, Kata and myself will bid you guys good night.
Good night, everybody. Keep pounding.
Keep pounding.